Broadcasting live from the Business RadioX studios in Atlanta, Georgia, it's time for High Velocity Radio.
Welcome to the High Velocity Radio Show, where we celebrate top performers producing better results in less time. Stone Payton here with you this afternoon. Please join me in welcoming to the broadcast with Bennett Thrasher, Mr. Durran Dunn. How are you?
Thank you. I am excited. I'm excited to be here, and I'm just appreciative of the opportunity. So thanks for having me.
Well, I have really been looking forward to this conversation. I got a ton of questions, Durran. I know we probably won't get to them all, but I think a great place to start would be if you could paint a bit of a picture for us, kind of an overview of Primer, mission, purpose. What are you and your team over there at Bennett Thrasher really out there trying to do for folks, man?
Look, I'll put it real simple. Bennett Thrasher, a firm that's almost 50 years old, headquartered here in Atlanta, Georgia, with offices through Dallas and Denver, with employees all throughout the country. Our mission really, Stone, is trying to partner with as many clients as we can for life and really helping them solve their business challenges, helping them meet their objectives. It's really that simple, and as simple as that sounds, it's actually not something that's that easy to do. It's quite complex. But I believe the professionals here at Bennett Thrasher, and one of the reasons that I joined the firm, starting with the CEO and Jeff Call, and just it permeates through the partnership, it's a group of individuals who really want to get out there working with the executives from different companies of all sizes, particularly in the mid-market, and really just helping solving their challenges and helping them meet their strategic objectives.
Sounds like noble work if you can get it, man. You got to tell us a little bit about the backstory. How in the world did you find yourself doing this kind of work, serving this type of constituency?
Yeah. So here's the interesting thing. Folks ask me like, well, how did you get into the profession? And I go back to high school. The profession actually found me. I did not find the profession. I, born and raised in Kingston, Jamaica, happened to take an accounting course, and a teacher thought I was pretty good at it. At the time, I thought nothing, only because I was a pretty good student, and so that was thematic for me in the other subjects. I get to college, declared it as my major because it was one of the first option at the top, right? Accounting. And so I checked the box, but at the time had no idea about the profession, had no idea around firms, services. Just coming from Jamaica, the idea was simply for me to just graduate high school. And so by the time I got to become a senior, believe it or not, that's when I was really introduced into the profession, the certifications and all that. And I started my career in Big Four public accounting, doing audits, and then over the years have done work in the industry, so direct hands-on operational experience, and just absolutely love Stone, just really love client service, the ability to just go, solve issues sometimes, not even knowing what I'm taking on, and have really developed that skill set, one of my strong skill set in terms of like just problem solving and helping to get to goals.
So what was that transition like for you coming from Jamaica? I'm trying to put myself in your shoes and go from here to Jamaica.
That's easy to do.
Oh, okay.
That's real
easier,
easy to do. Think of the beach, think of the food, all that. You will be just fine. Look, it was a culture shock. Jamaica is as most people would know, is a tropical weather. It's hot all year round. I moved to New York City, so obviously cold, snow. Not something that I wanted to sign up for, but I had no choice in that matter. That's where my mom moved, and that's where we went. And part of the reason why New York was selected was just trying to acculturate to the United States. There is a heavy Caribbean population there, and as you know, in New York, there is everybody from all over the world is in New York.
Yeah.
So it's a really nice melting pot. I got two scholarships, an academic and athletic scholarship to go to school, and believe it or not, I took 5 visits, and most of those visits, in terms of getting recruited, were either giving me a academic scholarship or a full athletic scholarship. The University of Southern Mississippi, I'm so grateful, gave me both. And so that was really a safety net that if I had a bad, academic semester or whatever had happened there, that I had the athletic scholarship to fall back on, and vice versa. Because I'll tell you this, Stone, had it not been for the scholarship, there's no way I'm going to school. You can put that out of the. That would not be part of the story that I'll be telling today. So that's really how I got into the profession, and the transition here. Quite frankly, I'm quite adaptable. And so despite the culture shock of New York, I got whiplash twice by moving to New York and then going to Mississippi.
That's got to be greater whiplash than Jamaica to New York.
So whiplash there twice. But just, from school and being in the profession, and over the years, I've been able to adapt real quickly. But at the end of the day, I was born and raised in Jamaica. That's where my roots is. That's where my foundation is. And despite the struggles and hard, we probably need a lot more time to talk about that. I wouldn't change it for anything, because it's really been the catalyst to kind of what's driven me to this point today and where I expect to be in the future.
So do you feel like the athletic experience, being part of a team, everything that must go with collegiate athletics, serves you to this day in your professional work? Absolutely.
And I appreciate you raising that. So that's an interesting point on the athletic piece. Any sport, any athlete, for me, it was primarily track and field. When you think about like discipline, the ability to go train and work out on the days you don't want to do it. When you think about inclement weather, going in if it's super hot, and then obviously when I moved to the United States, then it's super cold. Obviously depending on where you live, but then snow, being really disciplined about what you eat, when you eat, and then just all of those type of like foundational pieces that would make you a great or competitive athlete actually translates really nice to the business world. And so I like to say forever I will be an athlete, and I like to believe you, Stone, and everyone else that I know out there, all the partners there at Bennett Thrashers, all the associate there at Bennett Thrashers, and just anyone in the professional world is actually an athlete. They're just corporate athletes, because you're literally taking the same skill set that you have in terms of the discipline to work, the tenacity to work, working with different teams, calling different plays, working through scenarios that you weren't necessarily expecting to happen. It's all really the same thing. And so quite naturally, I believe that a huge part of my accomplishments to date is a direct result of what I've done athletically over the years, because those same fundamental toolkit of discipline and focus and being able to execute, being able to have resilience, all plays out as a corporate athlete in the corporate world.
Well, I really like that notion of being a corporate athlete, and you're making me feel so much better about myself. I grew up in the sports world. My father was a high school basketball coach, and there was a time when, even like in the first grade, I could beat any fifth grader on the playground one-on-one, even though I was small. And really, to be candid with you, Durran, to this day, I can still beat any fifth grader on the play.
You know what? I believe you. You're in shape. You know the audience might not be able to see, but I can tell you're physically fit here. You're
now,
ready
just
to go.
To be fair, I did make the high school team, but in full transparency, I really only made it because I had a car, and the two real athletes on the team did not. So, but everybody's got to do their part, right, buddy?
Exactly. You've got good reasons, and you made the team at the end of the day.
And now I'm a corporate athlete. Thank you for that.
Absolutely.
So, at this point in your career, what are you finding the most rewarding? What's the most fun about it these days for you, man?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. And as you began to ask the question, the first thing that came to mind is giving back. That's the first thing, but it's really two things. It's the giving back, and then again being able to be a trusting advisor to clients, right, and helping them, solution whatever they're trying to solve for. On the giving back piece, that piece is near and dear to my heart, Stone. Look, I did not grow up anywhere near privileged. I couldn't even conceptualize what potentially my life would look like as an adult. And so when I think about individuals who have directly and indirectly poured into me, I'm so grateful for that. And so at this point in my career, It's all about reaching out to students, other professionals as well, and really trying to provide the opportunity for them to support their dreams, their aspirations. I spent last week at the University of West Georgia with students and professionals alike, and had a wonderful time there. I was actually the keynote speaker there for the Black History Month program. I'm a board member at NAB, where I work also with the AICPA, the IIA. And for me, it's all about how do I give back more to the profession. And so that piece is really near and dear to my heart. And then a lot of the fun comes into working with clients of all sizes across a number of different industries. My favorite, technology, manufacturing, media and entertainment, the biopharmaceutical space. I really enjoy those particular industries a lot. And just really going to help solve business challenges. I'm in what we call our risk advisory group specifically at the firm. So that's everything from internal controls and SOX and doing internal audit. But really, I see myself as a business professional because I never know what the client actually needs. It's not about what I can offer specifically. But if you think about a firm like Bennett Thrasher is what we can offer holistically. And we have partners that lead our associates in all disciplines, audit, tax, and everything across advisory, including risk advisory, which I do, but also M&A and so much more. That's actually what keeps me up at night in a good way and keeps me going.
Well, let's dive into the work a little bit, if we might. And one of the things that I'd like to explore a little bit, but I'm operating under the impression that I may be working with you sleeves rolled up on the risk advisory, but if I need help in one of these other specific domains, you have this incredibly deep bench, if you will,
Absolutely.
of high caliber talent that you can call in, right?
Absolutely. I mean, put it this way. A firm like Bennett Thrasher, right, see us as a full solution firm. So we aren't we're specialized in every single aspect of probably what your need is, and you can just come to a one-stop shop to have that all done at Bennett Thrasher. And so if I can't do it, I can guarantee there's somebody else that can, and that's how we operate as a team at the firm.
So how does a senior level executive responsible for finding and engaging services that are in the wheelhouse for Bennett and Thrasher, how do they know that they should be exploring help like this, or maybe even exploring taking a look at you guys, even though they've been working with XYZ for a while? Are there some, let's not call them red flags, let's call them yellow flags, that are just some things that, if we're about to do this, or we've experienced this, or we're seeing this, maybe we ought to talk to these guys, at least have a conversation.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. I believe most clients and prospects that I've met with, talk with, in any way, shape, or form, have a pretty good idea of what they actually need help with.
Okay.
And I think if they're reaching out or you're having dialogue around what those particular items are, our job as advisors is to clearly understand what those issues are and help solution it. The truth is, if they're bringing these things up, it's probably one of the high priority and most urgent and most important items. But here's where the difference is in terms of what I would bring to the table. And again, just from meeting and talking with a lot of the Bennett Thrasher's partners, and one of the reasons I'm there is because our role is to see beyond just the problem and look at the bigger picture. That is to go in there and say, hey, you've got your eyes, you've got your pulse on the right thing with the right level of importance and urgency, but I'm taking a bigger look at your business, and here's something that's emerging, here's something to start thinking about. Or it might be, hey, this is actually more important and urgent as we see it, and here's why. Because we're working with clients of similar size, similar complexity, or similar industry, and state that case as to why. And at the end of the day, it really comes down to value. Here's the value that we believe that we want to bring to you based on what we understand around your business. And oftentimes that will bring a client to say, hey, I wasn't thinking about it, or I did not think it was that urgent. And so now we start to kind of package and talk about how do we bring full solution in a roadmap approach to them.
Do you ever find, as educated as it sounds like the vast majority of your clients are, do you ever find that sometimes, at least early in the relationship, that there are some preconceived notions, let's not call them myths, but maybe some misconceptions or that of what you guys do, or the value of the work, or the best way to leverage the work? Do you ever run into that?
Yeah, we do. Oftentimes it's it depends on the industry or if the company's public or not. Oftentimes non-public companies, one good example is a non-public company that is going to go through SOX preparedness and readiness, that is on the cusp of becoming a public company, going through the process of understanding what that means. How do they become public company ready in terms of internal controls? And what that really becomes is just education. It becomes training and having really dialogue. And I look at training not as a one-time formal thing, but an ongoing thing. So every interaction, every opportunity to provide education, having an open door policy. And quite frankly, that's something that we exercise. Reach out to us if you have questions. Don't make it be a got you type of approach, but really be in true partnership, co-developing, co-creating, collaborating on everything that needs to happen to get to the end goal, all with the client and their end goal being top of mind. So we do come across that, but again, it is typically demystified really quickly by how quickly we approach, the partnership and how you enter those conversations.
One thing that's coming to light very clearly for me, so maybe I have been one of these people that's been operating under one of these misconceptions. I guess candidly, before this conversation, I had a lens that I was looking through at your kind of work, and I'll just be honest, I viewed it as very transactional. And the more I hear you talk, nothing could be further from the truth. The level of trust that you must have to endear, the depth of relationship that you must have to cultivate and sustain is anything but transactional, yeah?
Yeah. So you've said it so perfectly. I'm almost wanting to change my mind and providing any response behind that, because you've hit it on the head. It's trust and relationships. And look, a lot of people make business decisions when they could trust you. They understand the value that you bring, and then relationship without a doubt, which is really across every single thing that you do. That actually plays a big role, those relationships. Look, I tell folks I don't necessarily try to sell service, if you will. I try to just simply develop authentic relationships. I hope you choose us. I hope you want to partner with us. And then I want to demonstrate the value that we could bring. And oftentimes, if you take care of the relationships and the value, the trust comes, you earn that trust, and you get the opportunity to work together in business. And a lot of my clients and folks that I do business with, we have really authentic relationships. I want to know where you're from and your kids, and they're playing baseball or basketball. I want to hear more. I've got an 8th grader who is almost 6'4", who's now got me all deep into basketball. So my IQ in basketball is going up really quickly because he's playing like maybe a year and a half now. So I want to hear. And if you're not well, a lot of times people lose the human element of what this is all about. And to your point, they become so transactional. It's something that I actually share with the younger professionals that are entering the profession, is particularly in this new kind of hybrid or remote model, is don't become transactional through the computer. Go meet people, go develop relationships, go to the office and have those random water cooler conversations so people get to know who you are and vice versa. And those things just take you a long way. And I'll tell you this, relationships, in addition to everything else that I've done, I would not have got to where I am today if it weren't for those relationships.
Yeah. I know the answer to this has to be yes, but I'm going to ask anyway so that you can speak to it in a little more depth. Have you had the benefit of one or more mentors along the way to help you navigate this terrain?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's an interesting question. I have had a number of mentors, both within the organization that I work in, and then folks that are external to the organization. Some of them don't even know they were mentors along the way.
Secret mentors.
Right. So, but which again speaks to people are always kind of watching. So I do have what I call those mentors, my personal board of directors that I would call for any type of matters I'm dealing with or decisions that I'm trying to make. And it's really simple. It's really informal. I could pick up the phone at any time. I could text at any time. And those individuals throughout the course of my career at every organization that I've worked, and then just other folks that I've met over the years in the profession, have played a role. But I would like to go a step further. There's another group of individuals who have also played a significant role, and those are the sponsors. Those sponsors have, when I'm not in the room, have been the ones that have said, hey, this project needs to go to Durran, or Durran needs to be next in line to get the next opportunity for growth and career development. And so I see mentorship and sponsorship going hand in hand. And that has been, again, another big piece of, that have contributed to my growth, my development, taking on new things, taking on different things, being able to travel the world is all because of those set of individuals between the mentors and the sponsors.
Yeah. You touched on this earlier, but say more about your choice to invest, and it sounds like quite heavily, time, energy, resources in community. And, oh, by the way, I got all this big job over here I got to do as well. What compelled you to do it? Tell us about that side of your...
Yeah. So I'm a servant leader. And at the end of the day, like if you strip, wherever we work, strip all the titles, we're all human beings. If you're sick and not well, or you're facing crisis that, your life is on the line, none of that stuff actually matters. And a lot of times people get lost and wrapped up into that type of stuff. And so while I'm appreciative of my accomplishments, I would never want to lose sight. And I remain grounded in giving back just broadly speaking. Bennett Thrasher aligns with that. So it all kind of works together. So they're not totally separate, right? Bennett Thrasher, we do have a foundation, and we do have, we're associates and everyone give. There's matching. The foundations also give to organizations. It all goes hand in hand. And I think for me, it's not necessarily separate or one or the other. It's all about giving back, reaching back, and quite frankly, it actually aligns really well when you think about corporate social responsibility. And that's what I am as an entity in terms of being Durran Dunn, and no different than what organizations will do as well. So it's really one. And without it, quite frankly, I'd be selfish. So there's a saying that said, to whom much is given, much is expected. And I'm just trying to fulfill that role.
Well, I think it's marvelous, not only your own personal drive to serve, as you've described, and I can see it clearly. I can see it in your eyes. I can hear it in your voice. But also, there's no conflict there. Quite to the contrary, Bennett Thrasher is wholly supportive of that, and even giving you a way to express that.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it all works well. And that's, you got to think about it. Most people are choosing where they work based on fit, based on culture and all that. And the Bennett Thrasher's cultures align very well to it. It makes it easier, right? Yeah. I don't have to go in there and say I'm a given person and then they're not. It wouldn't work out because I'll be wrestling, with myself. The value system that I have personally is the same value system that the firm and the partners and associates have across Bennett Thrasher. So it works out really well.
And you get to be the same real, authentic Durran 24/7, 365. You don't have to put different masks on for these different...
I can't do that. That is... that would be too tiring. So absolutely no. And look, we Jeff Call, the leadership team there, Michael Hoover, all these folks, they're accessible, they're reachable, they're personable, and it really just works really well. And quite frankly, it's the same level of transparency and reach that we bring to the clients in terms of bringing solution. They can reach us. We don't want to necessarily, we're not a 9 to 4 and then you can't reach us afterwards. We understand that we are working with clients who have needs that comes up in a variety of different ways at different times. And our role is simply we are the doctors of business. Put it that way, right? So we're the physicians of business, and we want to help do your checkup. We want to help solve for any issues that pop up. And then we have specialists, again, just like in the physician world, that can really dive deep to help create solutions and help those organizations reach their strategic objectives.
That's a marvelous mental picture. That really helps me solidify it and simplify it. Yeah,
Awesome.
That's terrific. So I don't know how you'd find the time, but hobbies, interests, pursuits, passions outside the scope of the Bennett Thrasher work, the community work. My listeners know that I like to hunt, fish, and travel.
Okay.
Anything you nerd out about outside any of the stuff we've been talking about?
Yeah, so it's interesting. A lot of people talk about like work-life balance. For me, it's really work-life integration. And I say that because for me, it happens that everything that I do, it all kind of works well. And actually, for me, make it a bit easier. So, being an athlete, that is part of me. Again, those muscles of an athlete will always forever be with me because that's what I bring over into the business world. And again, I mentioned that I'm a corporate athlete. We all are corporate athletes. And so that just lends itself well. But I enjoy traveling. I've had the opportunity to travel the world. I love travel. I do enjoy eating out, and I love all sorts of cuisines. And
you wouldn't know it, gang. You guys can't see him right now, but he is fit as a fiddle, as my mom would say. So he eats healthy, but apparently he enjoys it.
That is right. But I do enjoy eating. Big sports fanatic. So when I'm not necessarily competing, I do like sports, football. Like I said, I'm now probably a bigger basketball fan. Of course, baseball. I just watch. I love competing, and then just doing any type of random competition. If they're like, I would love to go in American Ninja Warrior one day. I just haven't created the time yet to do so. I play music. I'm not doing much of that today, but I used to play in church. So I play the piano, the keyboards, and the drums. Cannot read music though, so I ended up just playing by ear. And just with my family. I mean, that's all I've got the time for. People ask, well, there's not enough time in the day. I'm like, no, there's enough time. We just have too much stuff that we've put into the day, and that's the reality. But those are all the stuff that I enjoy doing outside of it.
I am so glad that I asked. I feel like I learned more about you in the last 45 seconds than I did reading the pre-show notes to get ready to have this conversation. That is fantastic. Well, before we wrap, I'd love to, if we could, leave our listeners with a couple, I call them pro tips, but just something to be thinking about, noodling on, maybe an operating discipline from the way you run your personal and professional life. Let's give them a little something to chew on. And look, gang, related to any of the professional stuff that we've been talking about in particular, number one pro tip, reach out and have a conversation with Durran or somebody on his team. Tap in to the great work that they are doing. But to hold them off between now and when they take that step, let's leave them with a little something to noodle on, man.
Yeah. I mean, there's so much that comes to mind, but one that's jumping out at me to leave is and this is broad because it sounds like, I think the essence of your question is broad beyond business, life. It sounds like it's broad, right?
Yeah.
Okay, am I right? All right.
And it's really for me. I just need all the help I can get. But
I'm going to leave with resilience. Just one word, like having resilience. And I think resilience would apply in work, in sports, in life, to the young, to the middle-aged, to the old. I see resilience as a prerequisite for success. Like if you don't have resilience, if you can't get over the hurdle or hurdles in life, in whatever it is, then this goal that you're after or success, you can pretty much pack it up. We're talking about some of the accomplishments that I've had, and I can reflect on so many, but the truth is I've had a lot more failures. And I think I've heard this once where I think maybe it was Michael Jordan or maybe Kobe talked about how many shots they've missed. And everybody sees the highlights of, and I notice I said the highlights of all the shots they've made. And so when I reflect on my life and personally and in my career and have, really thought about some of the hurdles that I've had to get over, some of them were not pleasant. When I think about personal things, having lost a sister a couple of years ago and having to work through that, having friends and colleagues who have had their challenges in different ways, a lot of them are on the other side of that. And so the goal here and the point I'm trying to make is you've got to have resilience. This whole thing around like short-term gratification and instant gratification is really mostly a fad. And maybe that's really just a lottery. You buy a ticket and you get it and all of a sudden you win. But what's the odds of that? The truth is have resilience, demonstrate resilience, stay disciplined. And if you do that, the odds are whatever it is that you're doing, you'll get on the other side of that and be able to tell that story.
Such powerful counsel. And here's another pro tip, gang. If you want to have bright, passionate people sit down with you for free and lay some real wisdom on you that'll improve your life, get yourself a radio show. It's a great way.
I love it. And by the way, having the opportunity to be here is great. It's beautiful.
Oh, well, thank you. All right, let's leave our listeners with some coordinates, the best way to tap into the Bennett Thrasher ecosystem and learn more, maybe have a conversation with you or someone on the team, but let's give them an easy way to do that.
Yeah, you can find me on LinkedIn, Durran Dunn, so that's Durran, and the last name Dunn, and then you can certainly send me an email as well, durran.dunn@btcpa.net. And you can certainly find more about Bennett Thrasher on our website as well. So I'm going to keep tabs of how many folks reach out. And so I'm looking forward to hearing from you all out there.
Well, Durran, it has been an absolute delight having you in the studio to share your experience. Thank you for your insight, your perspective. You are clearly out there serving in so many ways and having a genuinely profound impact on so many. We sure appreciate you, man.
Thank you, Stone. I appreciate the opportunity. Thank
My
you.
pleasure. All right, until next time, this is Stone Payton for our guest today, Durran Dunn with Bennett Thrasher, and everyone here at the Business RadioX family saying we'll see you in the fast lane.